Okay, this is just a quick look at the ingress chart for the upcoming 3 months. I mean, obviously it's a tropical technique, so it's tropical zodiac. So pretty much it's a chart for Pretoria, which covers, I mean, that being the main place in South Africa. So the location is set for Pretoria, but I mean, obviously the information is applicable to all of South Africa. Very interesting chart. Let's have a look at it here. There we go. Yeah. Jeez, honestly. Okay, so I mean, you can see basically, I mean, of interest is obviously the first house. And we've got the Saturn Pluto conjunction. Saturn Pluto conjunction on the Ketu axis. Ketu is on obviously 23 degrees going backwards. So you've got the south node of the moon conjunct with the Pluto Saturn conjunction. I mean, basically, Saturn Pluto conjunction, you're dealing with a lot of deep transformation, a lot of breaking down of fixed structures, and with Ketu getting involved, it's a very much a lot of surrender is required. Surrender is the key to moving forward. Letting go of things in a constructive manner, as opposed to trying to hold things together, because that will cause a lot of chaos. So if you can just surrender and let go, then basically outworn structures that have been overly solidified and things that are no longer appropriate will get removed from your general self-expression and your life as a whole in a more constructive manner. But very, very, very key to let go and just surrender. When you try and hold things together, it's not really going to be to your advantage at all. We do have a Venus-Jupiter sextile going on, which is obviously takes a little bit of sting out of the Venus-Mars square. So the Venus-Mars square is going to basically just test relationships and test family life to a certain extent. All right, and the sort of sextile from Jupiter just means that application of wisdom is kind of the way forward out of that tension. You've got the Mercury retrograding onto Neptune. Just means that clarity in communication is going to be absolutely key. Very, very, very important to be very, very direct and forthright in your communication. And this is good for artistic endeavors. It's good for sort of inspiration to a certain extent. But also, what is also noticeable and of interest is the sun's proximity to Chiron. I mean, the sun's right on there, right on Chiron, and the moon's very, very full. I mean, this ingress is happening just a couple of seconds before midnight, interestingly. And I mean, the full moon is kind of 28 degrees, 2 degrees. Yeah, 4 hours later it will be full moon, so it's just before full moon. So it's definitely really sort of highlights the lunar aspects. So the fact that the sun is sitting right here in the fourth house, which is the deep subconscious, it's almost like the subconscious is getting revealed and illuminated, and a lot of subconscious aspects are going to be forced to be dealt with, and certain things are going to have to be let go of to really move forward. I mean, what exactly the definition of the Sun Chiron conjunction is, I'm not really going to comment on that, because I don't believe my experience and knowledge of Chiron, is even worthy of an opinion. But it is definitely something that I notice. It is something that I do take note of. And kind of a deep inner healing would be all I'd be prepared to say about that. Yeah. And Mars, which is obviously kind of key to look at, because I mean the Sun's ingress into Aries. Aries is ruled by Mars, and what do we find Mars doing? We find Mars forming a perfect quincunx to Jupiter, which is not fantastic. It kind of points to a bit of disharmony between your desire to take action and expansion. working sort of kind of counter against each other in a certain extent. Mars does trine the moon. It does form a trine to the moon, which kind of creates a bit of stability, but Mars does sort of square Venus as well. So Mars isn't really very Mars isn't being very helpful at the moment, which kind of suggests that, there's a bit of lethargy, maybe a bit of inability to take action. So kind of pushing through inertia will be very, very important. Just carrying on pushing forward is kind of the only way out of this at all. Mars does form a trine to the Saturn Pluto conjunction and obviously the Ketu conjunction. So I mean it's a bit of a mixed bag in a sense where Mars is forming good aspects, and it's also forming inharmonious aspects, all kind of sort of simultaneously. So there's a lot of things that have been triggered on 23 degrees. So the minute any planet in the next 3 months transits over 23 degrees, or whenever the moon hits 23 degrees, then a lot of things will be triggered. So 23 degrees of tropical becomes very, very active and very activated in the next couple of months. It'll be interesting to watch the transits over 23 degrees, specifically when Saturn hits 23 degrees. Be very, very interesting to see what goes down. So yeah, pay attention to 23 degrees, specifically 23 degrees of cardinal, but I mean, to be fair, 23 degrees of any sign will be triggering things from this chart in the future. Anyway, that's a very, very brief summary. I don't want to get into too much technical astrological stuff at the moment. So yeah, this is some interesting stuff going on over the next couple of months. Interesting times. Make the most of it.